Shalom family.
Shalom family.
We're so glad to have you with us today. Today is Sunday, May 12th, 2024. We have several different articles to go through today and discuss some things with you all. Before we do that, just a quick reminder, we do have a new video we released last week around emotions in our health, talking about gratitude. So definitely you want to check that out when you have a chance, and we believe it'll really speak to your life and share with those that you know as well. All right. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this first one. It says recall map shows states with product warnings for Walmart, Target, and more. More than 24 confectionery products have been recalled over fears they may be contaminated with salmonella. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration announced the recall of Palmer Candy Company's white-coated confectionery items on May 6th because they have the potential to be contaminated with salmonella. Let's check this out real quick. Turn the sound off here. So FDA announced the recall of Palmer Candy Company's white-coated confectionery items on May 6th because they may be contaminated with salmonella. Their candy was notified with the risk of supplier of liquid coating used the white coating sweets. The recall products were distributed nationwide at Walmart, Hy-Vee, Target, and Dollar General stores in 17 states. Production of the items has been halted while FDA investigates the cause of the potential contamination. All right, that's that end on that one. So if you have any of that stuff, definitely I might play that video just for the sake of it. But if you have any of that stuff, check your pantries and see if you have any of those types of candies. Let's take a look at this video. It looks interesting. Let me go back, put the sound on.
That is so cute. Oh, he just took his paw away.
He said, not in your mouth, sister.
That is so cute. Oh, he just took his
Dog's
paw
like,
away.
nah, you ain't
Not
getting
in your
my
mouth,
paw.
sister.
Cute little video.
That is so cute. Oh, he just took his paw away.
He said, not in your mouth, sister.
That is so cute. Oh, he just took his paw away.
He said, not in your mouth, sister.
Cute little video. Okay, moving on to the next one. It says China hacked Ministry of Defense, according to Sky News. I'm guessing this is in the UK somewhere. It says MPs will be told of a massive data breach involving the Ministry of Defense later today, targeting several personnel. It says the Chinese state has hacked the Ministry of Defense. MPs will be told today of a massive data breach involving the MOD targeting service personnel. The government will not name the country involved, but Sky News understands that this to be China. The Chinese state is to be accused of 2 or 3 attempts at hacking MOD employees, including personnel. Let's see what this here says.
英方有关政客的言论纯属无稽之谈。
Relevant remarks of the UK politicians are absurd. China firmly opposes and fights all forms of cyber attacks. We also firmly reject using the cybersecurity issue politically to smear and vilify other countries.
All right, so they're denying it, and guess we don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. But
Okay, up next we have Michigan woman found living inside grocery store sign with computer, desk, and coffee maker. It says the unidentified homeless woman was discovered when contractors noticed an extension cord was running up to a plug in the roof sign. Okay, so it says a Michigan woman was found living inside a sign on top of a grocery store recently in a case that a local police officer said makes you scratch your head. The unidentified 34-year-old woman, who police said was homeless, had not only been living inside the grocery store sign for a year, she also had a desk, a coffee maker, and a computer and a printer. She was discovered on April 23rd when contractors at the Midland, Michigan store noticed someone was running an extension cord up to the roof where there's a plug-in.
Interesting.
Yeah, the odd thing is, why would a homeless person have a computer and the desk, and what was she doing? I don't know. This is a strange one for me.
Yeah, I guess. Well, how do you get the desk up there? I mean,
How does she get up there?
yeah, yeah, it's interesting to be hiding up there inside of a sign. I mean, that's interesting.
It says in the article, it says he added, I honestly, which I think that was the officer. He said, I honestly don't know how she was getting up there. She didn't indicate either, explaining there was no sign of a ladder. But it is accessible from the roof. Wait, Brenna explained that the 5 foot wide, 8 foot high sign is accessible from the roof of the store and has a door. I don't know. Okay. Michigan, our next story reads, Michigan readies emergency order to manage bird flu outbreak hurting poultry farmers. Starting Wednesday on May 8th, a state emergency order will go into effect in Michigan in an effort to limit the spread of highly pathogenic avian influenza. While it's not impacting people yet, HPAI's toll on the state's economy, as well as its operations for supplying eggs and meat, has taken a hit. Left unchecked, the director of the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development warns issues could only intensify. So I'm guessing from the looks of this article and this being a story that has not gone away, that food will be impacted, especially like they said, eggs and chicken, and based off other things, maybe even beef. So it's something we'll be watching and something to keep an eye on because it is out there. And like I said, it is not and has not gone away yet.
Yeah, it's true. And also, it's one of those things that we've talked about over the past few weeks when it comes to food and what you're buying, making sure you pray and ask the Father what exactly you should and shouldn't be getting, where exactly you should and shouldn't be going, so that the items purchased are things that are beneficial and not harmful to the body.
Amen. Amen.
All right, next one says U.S. enjoys dazzling northern lights show stretching from Maine to Alabama after extreme solar storm that could knock out power lines and communications. It says colorful northern lights have amazed stargazers across the U.S. The NOAA announced that extreme G5 conditions had been observed. Solar storms could disrupt power lines, communication, and GPS devices. So this is something that took place over the past few days. It says millions of Americans have enjoyed a rare northern light show caused by a geomagnetic storm that could interfere with power lines and communication in those different areas. Let's take a look at some of these pictures that we see here because they do look pretty interesting, very colorful.
Very pretty.
Yeah, absolutely. So it would be cool to see this. I mean, I thought it would be cool if they had those in Canada. I think it is be interesting to check that out. I think we have a video of it as well coming up, but seeing some of these pictures, it's pretty cool looking at that. All right, it says I'm not going to read that. Let's just look through some of these pictures. And just know that the Most High is right above us. And, I don't know exactly what's the cause of this, but, they say solar flares and things light up the sky. Maybe not. I don't know. But definitely interesting. All right, let's move on. It says Madison Bergman, teacher busted for making out with 11-year-old, allegedly moved his desk so she could rub his legs during class. It's like we keep hearing about these creepy teachers doing all kinds of things to children. I mean, they're supposed to be teaching the students, but they're messing with students. And whether it's a man to a child or a woman to a child, it's still equally wrong and shouldn't be done. And it's crazy to see this type of thing happening over and over and over again. I mean, we could probably find this type of stuff happening, I'm gonna say every week because I don't know if it's every week, but it happens too much. I mean, once is too much. So let's see what this video here shows. I'm gonna turn the sound off. So teacher busted. Wisconsin elementary school teacher was arrested for allegedly making out with her 5th grade student. So, less than 3 months before her wedding, parents of 11-year-old reportedly overheard him talking on the phone with Madison and discovered disturbing texts between them, allegedly describing how much the teacher enjoyed him touching her and making out. The charge, wow, it's gross. Accused pervert has since been placed on administrative leave. The husband's school district told parents the same day. According to social media, they were going to get married in July. Wow, gross. Gross, gross, gross. All right, let's move on to the next one here.
Next story we have, it says final test of U.S. dairy samples are negative for bird flu virus, U.S. FDA says. Chicago, May 10th, final testing of U.S. retail dairy samples came back negative for viable H5N1 bird flu virus, the Food and Drug Administration said on Friday. The FDA said it finished its laboratory research into 297 retail dairy samples tested for bird flu after previously reporting that preliminary results showed the commercial milk supply was safe. I find this a little interesting because, they were saying that it was in the beef, the cow, but it's not in the milk. So it's just something to look out for going forward. But they're saying that the milk is safe for now. Okay, next story up, we got young Americans are compromising their futures by doom spending. 3 steps, Ramit, this financial analyst says, to help. It says young Americans are falling prey to doomerism. Never heard that word before. According to personal finance expert Ramit Sethi, which could compromise their financial futures. Okay, let's go into a little bit of this. It says the outlook for young Americans is undoubtedly bleak. House prices have surged alongside interest rates for mortgages, leading to the most unaffordable housing market since the mid-'80s, according to the mortgage data firm Black Knight. Let's see, here's some other statistics. A survey commissioned by Credit Karma found 43% of millennials and 35% of Gen Z adults admitted to spending money because of a sense of economic doom, well above the 27% average across all Americans. This money could potentially have gone towards saving or investments, but why save for the future when you already know? So basically, instead of these two generations that they've spoken of, saving for the future, retirement, all other stuff, they think that because the world is in such the economy is such in disarray and it's not looking good, they're spending money on fun stuff, things like vacations and stuff like that, instead of saving. So that's what it looks like it's becoming, because it does look kind of bleak with the economy, inflation, and all these other things.
Yeah, it's true. It's where we saw a statistic, something, I think it was in 1982, where I think the 83, somewhere around there, 82, 3, 4, somewhere, where the people could live off, a whole family could live off of $30,000 at the time, and that the equivalent today of what people would need to live the same standard that they lived at that time in 83 was, I think it's like 165,000, something like that. It's
Six figures.
I mean, you need 6 figures to do what people did back in the early 80s. And, no wonder so many feel discouraged and don't know what to do when it comes to finances. And some people are just like, what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, when some of the other facts in this article was saying that the price of rent is going up. People don't know how they're going to just live day by day. So instead of worrying about it, they're taking their money and spending it on things that will bring them a little bit of joy, a little bit of peace, with all this doom floating around the air. So
yes, it's unfortunate. Our next one says experts reveal the foods and drinks that cause congestion, and now I think it's about time I changed my diet. says, you know that feeling you get when you're stuffy, that your sinuses ache and you feel like you can't breathe? Whether you're fighting a cold, dealing with allergies, or breathing in air pollution, there are many reasons your nose gets clogged up. So this goes into some of the things about mucus and so on and so forth. But it talks about certain foods that actually are high in histamines, which I think it's down here. Let's see. So here are some of the foods. It says, of course, processed meats like sausage and bacon, aged cheeses, fermented foods like sauerkraut and kimchi, fermented beverages like alcohol and kombucha, dried fruits like raisins and apricots, and some vegetables and fruits like tomatoes and citrus. Let's see what else. Okay, so here's some other things too, which I kind of skipped, but it says histamine intolerance can lead to many symptoms, including digestive issues, headaches, skin irritation, and nasal congestion. So it's just got to be watchful. Sometimes, if things are going on, may not be able to pinpoint the issue, but, sometimes just got to look and see, okay, is it this or that? But it's a shame that so much processed food is causing such irritation to the body. And, with inflation being so high and things costing so much, it's definitely hard to find stuff that's a good price, and a lot of stuff that's actually more on the affordable prices are things that are processed foods. And sugar obviously is definitely not something that is good for the body. I mean, the vegetable oils and corn oil, soybean oil, there's other things, sugars. Let's see what else. Let's see. So yeah, a lot of this stuff is just affecting the body adversely, and sometimes you got to stop. And like here it says, you can also talk about registered dietitian about eliminating diets to kind of figure out certain types of foods you should and shouldn't have. So if you're dealing with any type of things when it comes to food, definitely check, and see, maybe you might need to eliminate some things and go from there.
This is an important article because around this time, it's claimed that, the allergy season. And the thing about it is, it could be the things in the air, but it could be some of the things that we're taking into our body. So maybe if you're dealing with congestion or allergies and you're having to take allergy medicines and stuff like that, it might be good to pray and seek and see if some of these things that are causing you to have the sneezing, the runny nose, the inflammation in the body, if it's connected to some of the foods we eat.
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea. Absolutely. All right. So this is talking about here, Ohio church ordered to stop housing homeless. Let's see this video. Not going to watch it all. It's kind of long.
Liberty Institute Senior Counsel Jeremy Dice. Thank you both for coming on. I just want to read this, Pastor Revell, because I find it fascinating. The city put out a statement saying this is not a bureaucratic dispute. This is a very dangerous situation for the people that Dads is trying to help. What do you make of that statement that they gave to all the media organizations?
Yeah, well, I think it's a dangerous place for the enemy who's trying to steal, kill, and destroy. It's very dangerous because people's lives are getting saved both physically and spiritually at Dad's place. And that's what we're about. We're about the gospel of Christ. And we're seeing lives transformed, people made new, and just amazing things at Dad's place.
Yeah, and Jeremy Dice, to you, it's one of those things where you think, I know that they're trying to create their own narrative here, but it was 20 degrees. We started doing this story. It was 10 degrees below outside, bringing these people in, and they're saying being inside the church is dangerous because it could be a fire hazard.
No, it seems like Mayor Carrie Schlade will do just about anything to make sure that Pastor Revell is in a jail cell rather than helping people in this church. She would rather drive people outside of this church into the driving rain, the pouring snow, and the heat of the summer, rather than to have them in a place of safety. Look, over the last 90 days, we've been committed to working with that city. We have put in new crash bars on the doors. We've taken away washers and dryers at their insistence. We've taken out an oven at their insistence. We've applied for approval through the state at their insistence. Right. We have done everything we possibly can, move people out of the building, like the caretaker that was there 24 hours a day, as well as someone who had a very serious seizure condition. That person, because he was alone by himself outside of the safe church that he used to be in with a lot of other people, has now passed away. Yeah. How many more people have to be displaced, dislodged and moved out of that church for the mayor to be happy here. She will not rest until Pastor Avell is in jail and that church is shut down. But we will not rest until Pastor Avell continues his ministry. Church.
All right, we'll stop there. Yeah, it's sad. You know, people are trying to help those in need, those struggling, and instead of, you know, supporting that, you know, this city mayor, governor, whoever it is trying to put this guy in jail for trying to help those that are in need, and rather those people that are homeless be out on the streets in the cold and rain and all kinds of adverse conditions. It's a sign of the times that we're in, that the scripture says the love in these last days, the love of many will wax cold, and we can see clearly that that's taking place right now.
Yeah, and you can also see too what's considered good. What is good is considered evil, and what is evil is considered good. We're seeing it.
Yep, it's happening all over. It's not just in the U.S. It's all across the world. It's sad though. Okay,
our next article, interesting one. It's called the God of Destruction Asteroid, Apophis, will come to Earth in 2029, and it could meet some tiny spacecraft. So they're saying in just under half a decade, a 1,000-foot wide asteroid named after the Egyptian god of chaos and destruction, Apophis. I don't know if that's right, but Apophis will pass within 30,000 miles of Earth. Scientists don't intend to allow the rare close passage of a space rock of this size to go to waste.
Yeah, this is all nonsense. We believe Scripture, and we believe Scripture is clear where it comes to the Earth, and you know that there's no space the way that people talk about it. The heavens are above. The firmament is above us. The water's above the heavens, and the water below is where we're at. But it's interesting that NASA and all these want to continue to try to promote through all these things, these false deities. And you can see they named this asteroid after some Egyptian god, which is ridiculous. But that's what they do. That's all they do. I mean, a lot of their missions are based off of these Greek gods and others.
Yeah, you can see it. Osiris. All of these are deities, and it's strange that NASA would name all these different things, their so-called planets, their asteroids, their whatever else, after deities. It's strange. Okay, moving on. It's not a matter of a hurricane. It's not a matter of if a hurricane will hit Florida, but when, forecasters say. So this one, with the start of hurricane season less than a month away, U.S. officials who prepare for, and respond to natural disasters had a message for Floridians on Friday. Tongue twister. It's not a matter of if a hurricane will hit, but when. The 2024 hurricane season is expected to be busier than average. To ensure that people everywhere are prepared, officials visited residents in Sanford, a landlocked city in the middle of the Sunshine State. So basically, they're letting us know and letting all people know that this 2024 hurricane season is going to be busy, which means there might be lots of hurricanes coming through. So we say now, they put it out there, just prepare yourself for all that entails, and seek Yah. He will reveal what you need and what you need to do, and just go forward with that plan of seeking Yah.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because there's been so many tornadoes this year through the plains and through what would be considered Tornado Alley, and we might have a video. I'm not sure if we have it or not, but you know, there was lots of tornadic activity over the past, you know, last month, even into this past week, and it's destructive and it's happening. And I mean, floods in Brazil, you know, UAE and Dubai. I mean, it's happening in so many different places. I mean, these days it's just disaster after disaster, and And as you just heard, we just need to pray. We need to trust the Most High and ask Him to lead us and guide us so that we're ready and prepared for the things to come. Because according to Scripture, we haven't seen anything yet. It's the days that are coming are going to get worse than the days that are here currently. Now, for us, we just continue to trust the Most High, that He leads and guides and directs us, and we don't fear and we won't worry. We'll just continue to trust Him and believe that He's taking care of us. All right. First person to receive a genetically modified pig kidney transplant dies nearly 2 months later. It says the first recipient of a genetically modified pig kidney, which I wouldn't even want that in my body. I mean, all right, transplant has died nearly 2 months after he underwent the procedure. His family in the hospital that performed the surgery said this on Saturday. Richard or Rick Slayman had the transplant at Massachusetts General Hospital in March at the age of 62. Surgeons said they believed the pig kidney would last for at least 2 years, but it only lasted 2 months. Unfortunately, this guy passed, and it's kind of gross.
I find it interesting that they want to, because we as believers, Yah told us in His Word that He doesn't want us eating pork, and we know why. One of the reasons is that they eat trash and they are parasite carriers. So to think, if we're not supposed to eat it, why would we put that inside connected to all of our other organs? Just seemed like a dangerous thing all around. Yeah. But as you can see, the results of that did not end well for that.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. So for those of you that just joined or just hopped on recently, just want to say welcome and glad that you're here. So thanks for joining, and as we'll continue on. So we appreciate each of you and are thankful for you and your time that you spend with us. So thanks for joining us. Our next article says these two types of people or women die earlier than straight women, decades-long study finds. So it says lesbian and bisexual women die significantly earlier than heterosexual women, according to a new study, and it's likely due in part to discrimination. I don't know about that. Mm-hmm. But this is the role sexuality plays in overall health is a subject that's attracted researchers for decades, resulting in a large body of evidence of how this group of people experience a variety of negative outcomes from mental health issues to chronic disease at elevated rates. But what hadn't been widely studied is how these outcomes affect mortality rates. So it looks like those that, compared to participants who identify, let me go back. It says the paper published last month in this magazine or article says reviewed decades worth of data from the Nurses Health Study 2, which began in 1989 as part of a series of investigations into risk factors for major chronic diseases in women. The authors analyzed how sexuality contributed to premature death rates among the study's cohorts of more than 100,000 U.S. nurses. And what they turned up was an alarming disparity in how long lesbian and bisexual women lived in comparison to their heterosexual peers. Compared to participants who identify as heterosexual, the analysis found those who identify as lesbian or bisexual died 26% sooner, with lesbian women dying 20% sooner and bisexual women dying 37% sooner. So, moral of the story is, the Most High created two species, regardless of what this world wants to play these weird games. And, there's reasons why we're to live according to what the scripture says. It's for our health, it's for our benefit. And a lot of times, without getting into all these things, so many people that we've seen in the past that turn out this way have dealt with issues when they're young, which cause them to live this type of lifestyle. So sometimes it's hurt, sometimes it's spiritual, demonic. There's all kinds of things, but without going too much into detail of all that, it's definitely seen that those who practice this lifestyle don't live as long as those who live according to the scriptures.
Hey, says heavy rain set off flash floods in northern Afghanistan, killing at least 50 people. Says flash floods from seasonal rains in Baghlan province in northern Afghanistan killed at least 50 people on Friday. Let's check this video.
video is kind of green. Like for some reason. Bad recording.
Okay, so I don't know how many countries we've shown so far, but this just adds to another. I know they're flooding in Kenya. I know they're flooded in Brazil. Now we got Afghanistan, parts of Texas.
Oh yes, it's
Mexico.
Yeah,
Mexico.
Mexico. Yeah, I think Mexico might have been one too, but I don't know if we've shown that one. But yeah, it's
Many places, many places. So weather changes. Okay, next story up. We got NYC. This suspect charged after disturbing belt choke video goes viral. And there's a video for this one. So let's watch this video.
Fox 5, that 39-year-old Cashapp Parks has previous run-ins with police. Fox 5's Jessica Formoso joins us live from the Longwood section of the Bronx right now with what community members there are saying. Jessica.
Arthur, well, over in the Melrose section of the Bronx, pretty much everyone is talking about this horrific attack, especially the women who say they have been on edge and concerned for their safety. But tonight, like you said, that alleged rapist is off the streets. However, we're told by authorities that he has assaulted another woman in the past.
Oh, God bless. Oh, that's amazing. He needed to get caught.
Women in the Melrose section of the Bronx breathing a sigh of relief after finding out that the man accused of the brutal sexual assault of a Bronx woman is now in police custody.
I feel much safer.
I feel happy that he has been caught because that is something that is terrible and no woman should go through that.
39-year-old Cashapp Parks was arrested Saturday morning. He was walked out of the Special Victims Unit in handcuffs with his head down and didn't say a word. He faces a number of charges, including rape, assault, strangulation, and harassment.
They caught him? Oh, that's excellent. NYPD all the way. And now he's got to pay the price and go to hell.
Police say Parks is the man in this disturbing viral video obtained by the New York Post. In it, you see a 45-year-old woman walking down East 152nd Street, heading towards 3rd Avenue, when Parks allegedly lassos a belt over the victim's neck and pulls her to the ground until she loses consciousness, then drags her between two cars, and police say he rapes her.
That's disgusting, man. He should be ashamed of himself, man.
According to the NYPD, the disturbing attack happened on May 1st. Lucia Nunez works in the neighborhood, and she, like many, say they've been on edge and just don't feel safe walking these streets.
Some of my friends.
Yeah, that's very, very disturbing. Very dark and evil stuff that's going on. It's disturbing.
yeah. So whether you're male, female, adult, child, if you have children, so I mean, especially women, when you're out and about, if you're walking around by yourself, you got to keep your head on a swivel. We see too many people walking with their heads down, looking at their cell phones, they have their headphones on or earbuds in, and not paying attention to what's going on around them. And you can see, if you actually see the regular video of that guy, I'm sure he targeted this lady because she's not really paying attention. And people, when they're doing these types of things, they're looking for people who aren't looking, and they're not aware of their surroundings. So if you're out and about, be watchful, keep your head on a swivel, looking around, know what's going on around you, know your surroundings. Just be watchful and continue to pray before you go out, and ask the Most High to continue to cover you, and his angels will be around you and watch you and guard you. Definitely just be aware, and don't look down at your phone. Pay attention to what's going on around you, because there's a lot of people looking to take advantage of those that are not paying attention to their surroundings.
Crimes of opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. Crimes of opportunity. So this says here, police say theft suspect stole 2 police vehicles while handcuffed and survived 11 officers' gunfire. Wow, this guy's like a Houdini. It says a man who crashed a stolen police vehicle survived gunfire from 11 police officers and then drove off and crashed another police cruiser, all while wearing handcuffs in a hospital gown. is in no mental capacity to appear before a judge right now, his lawyer says on Friday. The chaotic chain of events involving at least 5 law enforcement agencies began when Gary Porter, already wanted on a felony theft warrant, was discovered passed out in a chicken coop on Monday. Arrested and taken into hospital for evaluation, police said. It says Paris Police Chief Mike Daly then took him to jail, and he stepped out of the pickup truck to escort him inside when Porter somehow slipped his handcuffs from behind his back, moved into the driver's seat, and drove off. The chief jumped onto the truck's running board to try to stop him, but was thrown to the ground, authorities said. A chase ensued, joined by officers from Norway, Oxford, and Paris, sheriff deputies, the state police, in a mostly rural part of Maine, about 48 miles from Portland, police said. They eventually deployed spike masks that blew the tires and caused Porter to crash into a ditch, and so on. So, I mean, this guy was able to escape with handcuffs on, driving stealing 2 police cars, getting shot at, and still was able to get kind of away. But I mean, they did capture him. All right, so let's move on to the next one. It says parents. Oh, here's a good one. It says parents of a boy whose heart stopped for 19 hours were stunned when it started beating again. So 4-year-old Cartier McDaniel was on life support at a Colorado hospital, and doctors told his family he was unlikely to survive. So there he is. It says the family of a 4-year-old boy whose heart had stopped beating hours earlier gathered at the Children's Hospital in Colorado last month to say their final goodbyes. Some slept in the waiting room when they weren't praying at Cartier's bedside after doctors told his parents that it was only a matter of time before his life support machine wouldn't be able to keep his body functioning properly without a heartbeat. All attempts to restart his heart had failed. It was the worst moment of my life. The whole hospital room was spinning. I was shaking. I couldn't believe it was happening, Anderson said. Excuse me. But in nothing short of a medical miracle, praise Yah, to Anderson and McDaniel, their young son's heart began pumping on its own again, 19 hours after it stopped. Anderson and McDaniel said doctors told them that they didn't have a scientific or medical explanation for why Carter's heartbeat began beating again. Of course they don't. It's always science, but this person says, but McDaniel said he had a spiritual explanation. It was God. Cartier's ordeal began on April 8th when he ran a fever that Anderson treated with Tylenol, so on and so forth, went on. But through prayer is life-changing. So it's awesome to see something like this happen. And, when it looks like all hope is gone, we can look above and find hope in our Father who loves us and cares for us. So if you're going through anything, don't give up. Don't lose your hope. Continue to pray. Continue to trust. Continue to stand on the word. It does work. Prayer works. And we can see here's an example of it. And I'm sure you may have some examples as well in your life or in your family or those that you may know. But don't give up on the Most High.
Hey, if you do, feel free to drop those in the comment section. We'd love to see them. And I know it'll be an encouragement to the rest of the family.
Yeah, and also if you all are in need of prayer in any type of way, please send us a message. Send a note in a video or comment. Send us an email at info@discerningminds.com. We would be glad to pray for you, lift you up, lift your family up. Let us know if you have a testimony. We love to hear that as well. So definitely send us something if you're in need of prayer. We'd be glad to pray for you. We pray for you all. Anyway, but if there's something specific, we certainly can do that as well.
Okay. Next story up. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says a worm ate part of his brain and then died. He said he had been having memory loss and mental fogginess, and so contacted neurologists who spotted a dark spot on his brain scans. They said he had a tumor, but another doctor believed he had a dead parasite in his head. The New York Times reported.
That's gross.
Okay, moving on to the next story. This Postal Service asks for changes to your mailbox starting Sunday. It's time to give your mailbox a little attention. That's the message from the U.S. Postal Service in its annual Mailbox Improvement Week. USPS designates the third full week of May as Mailbox Improvement Week to encourage customers on encourage customers on to examine and, when necessary, improve the appearances of their mailbox. Strange story. Strange. As long as it holds the mail, it's good for me.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm thinking if unless they're gonna pay for those upgrades, then I don't know how much I'm willing to do. I mean, it just holds the mail. So
I would say too, though, there are times where we've driven down the street and a mailbox is like leaning over so much. So maybe in that case, it makes sense. But if your mailbox is standing upright and it opens and closes and keeps the mail, why go through all the trouble?
Exactly. All right, next one says Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, something like that, declares state of emergency in parts of state over tornadoes. So, we talked a little bit ago about just the different storms and different things happening all across the world, and it's tornadoes, in many different places in the U.S. It says Michigan governor has declared a state of emergency in areas of Michigan due to the tornadoes that hit the area on Tuesday. She said, I declared a state of emergency for Kalamazoo, St. Joseph, Kalamazoo. That's an interesting word. St. Joseph, Branch, and Cass counties after a severe storm system. Whitner, shared on X. We will work. Whitner. Yeah, I got two different things. Whitner. I thought I said one. Whitmer. So I don't know what this person's name is. W says, we will work with emergency teams overnight to monitor the situation and coordinate resources for those affected. Michigan is strong, and together we will rebuild. Wow. So more storms, more things happening in different places. As we mentioned earlier, just the tornadic activity that's been happening, in this country over this past month and a half or so has just been crazy. They said the latest tornado threat comes as at least 20 tornadoes were reported in 7 states overnight into Tuesday. So this is just this past week. So I don't know if you've seen any of the pictures or the destruction that's taken place, but wow, it could be devastating. We were listening to something the other day where this one lady was just so distraught because her house was gone, and she said her dogs were missing. They still haven't found her dogs and some other things, and it's sad to see this type of stuff. And sometimes I wonder, is this judgment, or is it just some thing that's being done just some other way? So it's just wonder. That's all I'll say. I'll just leave it at that. But it's unfortunate to see all this damage and destruction across this country. All right, next one. So we talked a few weeks ago about these robot dogs with one shooting out fire. This one actually has a rifle attached to it. This one's used AI though. So it says robot dogs armed with AI aimed rifles undergo U.S. Marine Special Ops evaluation. Says the United States Marine Forces Special Operations Command, or MARSOC, is currently evaluating new generation of robotic dogs developed by Ghost Robotics, with the potential to be equipped with a gun system from defense tech company Onyx Industries. Let's take a look at this quick little video. Okay, that was a short one, but yeah, I don't want to see that, and I don't want to see the one we showed a few weeks ago with a dog walking around shooting fire out either. So there's another picture of it, with the rifle attached to it, just using AI shooting at targets. This one says, let's see, the evaluation of armed robotic dog reflects a growing interest in small robotic unmanned ground vehicles for military use, while unmanned aerial vehicles, or UAVs, have been remotely delivering lethal force under human command for at least 2 decades. The rise of inexpensive robot quadrupeds, some available for as little as $1,600. Wow. Okay. I don't want to see those things roaming around down the street. I mean, definitely not a dog I want to see.
I just have one question, and be interested to see if anyone else is wondering the same thing. But do you think AI is getting out of control now with these robotic dogs with guns? Do you think AI is getting out of control? Just the question.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
Okay, our next story, it says billionaire real estate investor expects 1 or 2 bank failures a week, UK economist says, entering a new dark age. It says billionaire Barry Sternlicht, founder, chairman, and CEO of Starwood Capital Group, has issued an ominous warning about America's regional banks, which he says will fail at a rate of 1 or 2 per week. Speaking with CNBC on Tuesday, Steinlich says he thinks the primary real estate lenders community and regional banks are about to get whacked. He said you're going to see a regional bank fail every day or not. Every week, maybe 2 a week, he said, adding that Fed Chair Jerome Powell's ongoing rate hikes will continue to have consequences for the real estate sector. It's a video. Let's check this video. Oh.
We sat down with one of the heaviest hitters here at the Milken Global Conference, and that is real estate mogul and billionaire investor Barry Sternlicht. He is the CEO and chairman of Starwood Capital Group, one of the players in global real estate with $115 billion in assets under management. We started off by asking Sternlicht about his worldview on the economy, and here's what he said.
I do think you're seeing some weaknesses now that we anticipated, like the JP Morgan was saying that the excess savings would be out to finish in May, and you're now seeing in Starbucks results, McDonald's warnings, some of the things we're hearing about delinquencies on credit cards. So I do think that 50-60% of America is run out of savings and is going to start pinching their pennies. So I think, but on the other hand, there are so many, we read that $235 billion of money has gone to people who have cash, like you're earning 5% on your cash. That's $235 billion of spending power people didn't have. Most Americans' mortgages are fixed at 3.5%, so the rise in rates didn't change their income. Gas prices are fairly tame, as our natural gas prices, as well as oil. So they have a job, and they.
Yeah, so with this and other things that we've seen or heard, we definitely need to be aware of the times and what's happening in the banks and other places.
This is just another warning out there. If they're saying banks are looking to crash, collapse, that might be something you want to be aware of and to keep your ears open to, and also start seeking and finding alternative plans, whatever that may entail, so that you're ready and prepared for when that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's we talked about one last week, I think it was, but they're talking about potential multiple, a week or several over the next week's happening. So pray, ask the Most High what you should do. If you have funds in the bank, what should you do about that?
Okay, it says the next one says California mom reportedly arrested for kicking 2-year-old daughter, shaking her like a rag doll mid-flight. Oh, these are the tough ones. A California woman allegedly attacked her 2-year-old daughter on an international flight from Mexico to Seattle last week, kicking and backhanding the little girl mid-flight before shaking her like a rag doll as horrified passengers looked on. Rihanna Missler, 33, of Sacramento, was charged with child endangerment after the chaotic May 1st flight, during which she allegedly screamed some profanity, telling the child to be quiet, at her young daughter, according to Fox 10 Phoenix. Okay, so
it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a way to be a parent, but it's not to shake your child like a rag doll. I mean, it's yeah. All right, next one says, Eye to the sky. Watch moments crime-fighting drones track and catch shoplifter within minutes in new crackdown on theft. Let's see this video here.
This is actual Ben Salem police drone footage of a shoplifting arrest made just a few minutes after the crime was perpetrated. And it was the drone itself that made this arrest possible.
Turn this music off here. It's kind of loud. All right, so it's part of a task force to capture people with these drones. The success of the drone program in Ben Salem is hoped to inspire other departments to adopt similar technologies. Okay. All right. So more surveillance and watching. I mean, theft is never a good thing. It's just the stuff that's being used for who knows what other reasons besides just for that. All right, so extreme G5 geomagnetic storm reaches Earth, NOAA says, following unusual solar event. Let's take a look at this.
Now to the huge solar storm hitting the Earth's atmosphere. It's millions of miles away, but the eruptions on the sun are bringing the northern lights to regions that rarely see them all over the world. But if you miss this magical phenomena, you might get lucky tonight. CBS's Michael George in New York has his eyes on the sky. Michael.
Well, Robert, quite a show last night, and it's not over yet. But as beautiful as the northern lights are, with a solar storm this large, it has the power to affect things here on Earth, from the power grid to the GPS on your phone.
Oh my God, I was not expecting this.
Breathtaking, otherworldly images from Canada, Ukraine, Switzerland, and England. And across much of the U.S., people witnessed streaks of pink and purple and green as far south as Florida.
Wow.
Sean Dahl, senior space weather forecaster for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, explains what we're seeing in the skies.
The aurora is when we get energized particles that have left the sun in more quantities than usual, and they interact with Earth's magnetic barrier.
Astrophysicist Noor Rawafi says this is the biggest geomagnetic storm in more than 20 years.
This one is pretty large. I think it's pretty extreme.
It's so large, it can temporarily disrupt satellites we rely on for communication and navigation, like GPS. Elon Musk's Starlink satellites are reporting degraded service.
Most of us have GPS on our phones. Is that something that could potentially be disrupted?
Yes, it could, because most of our phones are single frequency GPS systems.
Aurora Borealis can even impact our power grid and cause blackouts, but utility companies took precautions.
It seems this time around certain steps were taken.
Now, if you didn't get a chance to see Aurora last night, you still have one more shot tonight. Now, it is weather dependent, but experts say your best shot is between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. Robert?
Yeah, that's cool seeing those lights. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing those in real life. It just looks pretty interesting. So definitely a pretty sight to behold. It looks like here's some more from New York Times. Let's just click on that and watch this.
Oh, green on the right. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's cool. Have any of you all out there seen any of these lights? It's definitely interesting looking. I wouldn't mind seeing that, but haven't.
Okay, next story. Lifelike robot invasion inside China's insane humanoid factory. X Robots specializes in crafting realistic humanoids designed for interaction with people and fulfilling public service duties. Ooh, look at these pictures here. Okay. A short clip circulating on social media has sparked amusement and concern as it unveils the inner workings of a Chinese humanoid robot factory. All right, let's see if we can get to this video. Is this the video? Okay.
All right, we'll turn the sound off on that. They even got hoochie robots. I mean, look at the lifelikeness of these things. I mean, now you're not even gonna be able to tell if something's real or not. I mean, the way that they have so much of this technology out there. Is click on it again. So you can... But look at these
Yeah,
things.
looks very real, except
Especially
for the
face,
movement.
well, faces. And this one back here with the little tiny skirt. And this guy, I mean, look at
Oh,
his
look,
face.
that
here.
one is actually looked like he was African American, so-called African American.
Wow, interesting.
All right, next story: foxes that attacked Tucson museum worker test positive for rabies. Okay, let's go here. 2 foxes tested positive for rabies after attacking a Tucson museum worker on Wednesday, according to the Arizona Department of Game and Fish. The foxes attacked a worker on Wednesday morning at the Arizona Sonora Desert Museum, but the worker did not sustain any injuries. Game and Fish employees conducted a brief search, located and euthanized the 2 foxes who were suspected of being rabid. So that's another story right there. Okay. All right. Schools turn to artificial intelligence to spot guns as companies press lawmakers for state funds. Okay. It says Kansas could soon offer up to $5 million in grants for schools to outfit surveillance cameras with artificial intelligence systems that can spot people carrying guns. But the governor needs to approve the expenditures, and the schools must meet some very specific criteria. So
more AI.
More AI.
It seems everywhere. Excuse me, everywhere there's AI. It's just keeps increasing. All right, this one says plane passenger sparks outrage with crazy seat swap trick that turned into mile-high musical chairs. Let's take a look at the video and see what we're going to hear on this. Okay.
Girl walks up about 10 seconds later to the guy that's swapped. She's like, girl walks up about 10 seconds later to the guy that's swapped. She's like, hey, I'm the aisle seat here. And he's like, oh, I traded with that guy who said he was the aisle seat. The dad is just on his phone, not looking up. The dad had the middle seat. And I think he knew it.
Let's see. So, latest sky-high seating charge dramas to divide the internet. In the video that racked up nearly 300,000 views, Vanessa says a man on her flight intentionally misled another person about which seat he had when he was asked to swap. Citing a good Samaritan who moved in order to let a family sit together with the dreaded middle seat. Many in the video's comment section pointed to the incident as a reason why they never switched seats. So, not a villain for removing from. Yeah, I'll cover that. TikTok's full of testimonies from stubborn flyers who say they endured public shaming just to keep the seat they paid for. Some airlines like United are moving to minimize drama between passengers by introducing automatic seat swaps out of the middle when space becomes available. Okay, so it sounds like somebody lied and said that they had a different seat than they really had, and then they got somebody got stuck in the middle seat. Crazy. Have you ever experienced anything like that on a flight? Just wondering. Okay, next one says most of 15 million bees contained after bee-laden truck crashes. So in Clinton, Maine, a tractor trailer hauling about 15 million honeybees to be used in pollinating blueberry fields crashed and overturned on Interstate 95, officials said. So it's from the 10th. It says the driver was taken to the hospital as a precaution Thursday night while first responders worked to ensure the safety of the bees that were in a hive strapped on the trailer, which landed on its side, officials said. The bees were mostly contained and the goal was to save them. First responders didn't realize the cargo was bees until firefighters went down an embankment to check for leaking fuel or fluids. They learned the hard way, so I wonder if they got stung. The guys didn't get stung. Oh, there you go. The guys they did get stung on a regular basis. Everyone got stung at least a couple of times. So, wow, that probably wasn't a fun adventure for those people out there.
TikTok sues U.S. government saying potential ban violates First Amendment. The company argues that invoking national security concerns isn't a sufficient reason to restrict free speech. Let's check out this video.
Calling a ban so obviously unconstitutional, today TikTok sued the U.S. government, trying to undo the legislation signed into law last month that would force its Chinese parent company to sell within a year or see it banned. TikTok and ByteDance arguing the law disregards less extreme alternatives and is simply not possible, not commercially, not technologically, not legally. Adding the law will force a shutdown of TikTok by January 19th, 2025, silencing the 170 million Americans who use the platform. Do you think there's a chance here that TikTok successfully challenges this?
I think TikTok has a chance, and if they can articulate that their First Amendment rights are being denied, then the government may have to show that the legislation was necessary to achieve a compelling interest.
The Department of Justice declined to comment on the lawsuit, but in a recent interview, FBI Director Christopher Wray telling Lester, TikTok is a national security concern because it is beholden to the Chinese government.
It has to do with the recommendation algorithm. It has to deal with the software. We're talking about the ability to control or collect data on millions and millions of users.
TikTok arguing unspecified national security concerns are not enough of a reason to restrict free speech, and has previously denied it provides American user data to China.
The TikTok finally fires back.
Some of the app's users today celebrating the lawsuit.
They feel like they have a case.
A case in which TikTok says it is being unfairly singled out and is ready to prove as much in court. Savannah Sellers, NBC News.
You know what I find interesting about this one? TikTok is suing for violating First Amendment right, free speech, I think it is, right? But over in China, they don't allow for freedom of speech. So that's kind of like a scratch your head type thing. But that's just my thought on it.
Yeah. And we have free speech here. So it's interesting. I mean, China does their, control as they control. But there's a lot of free speech and just truth that's being put out on TikTok. And it would be a shame to have, not that everything on TikTok is good. I mean, it's filthy for sure. But there is a lot of things being revealed and exposed, and people can do it on TikTok because of the lax requirements, we'll say. But yeah, so you let us know what your thoughts are. Okay, next one. It says U.S. probe finds widespread sexual misconduct at FDIC. The FDIC must make sweeping changes to address widespread sexual harassment and other misconducts, according to an independent report released on Tuesday that raises questions about the future of the banking regulator's leadership. The report, prompted by a Wall Street Journal investigation, cited accounts from more than 500 people, including some who alleged FDIC Chair Martin Grunberg had engaged in bullying and verbal abuse. Yeah, so it sounds like there's, for far too long employees and for far too many employees and for far too long, the FDIC has failed to provide a workplace safe from sexual harassment, discrimination, and other interpersonal misconduct, said the report, adding that those accused of misconduct were frequently reassigned new roles. So looks like in the FDIC, they need to get their act together, clean up all this craziness that's happening there, allow for safe working environments.
Okay, Billy Graham statue to be unveiled in U.S. Capitol. Great honor. Okay, the late evangelist Billy Graham will take his place next week among 200 Americans honored with a statue in the U.S. Capitol and in Washington, D.C. Graham's statue will be unveiled next Tuesday during an 11 a.m. ceremony that will be attended by musician Michael W. Smith, House Speaker Mike Johnson, and other congressional representatives. The Billy Graham Evangelistic Association announced.
Yeah, this one's a strange one because if you think of Washington, D.C., if you've ever been there, I mean, you see the different statues and things that they have and the people who they kind of idolize in a sense, or, put these statues for, and they're not people who are good people. And I'm not going to say much about that, but, this guy was able to meet with and pray with all these presidents throughout the year. I think it was 13 or 14, or it may list in the article some large number of presidents, but to be that close with presidents and to be able to be in the position that he was in, if just read between the lines, it's not necessarily a good thing. It sounds good, but yeah, there's some stuff about this one here that it's not the best, even though he's looked at as a certain person in the Christian circle. He's not necessarily who he was made out to be. I'll just say that.
Yeah, you think about scripture. It said that Yahushua said, I'm gonna be hated. They hate me, they'll hate you. So if this one is loved, what does that say about him?
Exactly.
I'll end it on that note.
Exactly. Okay, here's the next one. It says Catholic priest stuns worshipers by telling them Christ had when he died on the cross in shocking Easter sermon. Why would you say that he had an erection? I mean, the Catholics and the Catholic priests, they're a bunch of perverts. And why would you, how would you even be thinking of something like this? Like, it's beyond comprehension that they would even talk about this type of thing. That's just look on. It says a Catholic priest has been reprimanded after telling his stunned worshipers that JC had an erection when he died on the cross. It says this guy, Thomas, the priest at this place, took to the pulpit as normal on Good Friday. However, the 53-year-old, who is from America, is understood to have told the congregation, roughly 100 Catholic residents, that blood would have rushed to the lower part of his body, resulting in a violent execution method of crucifixion. So how does that speak to anybody? You're sharing a message. I mean, for one, Easter's wicked anyway, but still to sit there and talk about his part and say it was erected, like it's sick-minded. That's what it is. It's just sick-minded. I'll move on. All right, so a magnitude 6.4 earthquake wakes people on the Mexico-Guatemala border. So that just took place recently. I'll skip that.
Woman accused of throwing her disabled son to his death in a crocodile-infested canal. New Delhi. Police in South India have arrested a couple after the woman allegedly threw their deaf and nonverbal 6-year-old son into a crocodile-infested canal, leading to the child's death. The incident happened in the Dandeli rural area of Karnataka state on Saturday. I don't know if I'm saying that right. On Saturday, according to police, who told CBS News that Savitri, maybe 26, who uses only one name, threw her son into a local canal after an argument with her husband. The couple's neighbors alerted the police, sparking a search operation that involved divers. All right, another disturbing story and a show of the times that we're living in. It is being projected that new cases of this in the U.S. will explode to a brand new record high this year, 2 million in 2024. Another headline story.
Okay, Istanbul Airport, Boeing cargo plane drags across runway, sending sparks flying. Continue to hear about Boeing and their issues. Let's take a look at this video real quick. So you can see the plane just dragging its nose down with no landing gear. Boeing is just constantly in the news with their planes and issues. It's crazy, all these issues with the Boeings. All right. So move on from that. All right, says the UFO files, 9 never before seen videos of craft flying over California, Utah, Nevada, and Arizona revealed by researchers. I think there's a video here we could take a look at. So grainy, it's hard to even tell what we're looking at here. There's another one.
Could be a helicopter. I think I hear it.
Damn helicopters not flashing. Helicopters don't have headlights. Helicopters flash. On the bottom, red or green. It's something going to the cloud. You know, I gotta ask them. I don't have a galaxy. Planes have. You can see other stars around it. It's not that
I'm moving rather quickly.
And some of these pictures are so grainy, it's hard to tell what we're even looking at. I mean,
look at all the stars. Yeah, the stars. Look at their stars. It's fuzzy. Sandra. Oh my God! I swear. They're coming for you. Oh, please be something extra weird. Come on. Oh, my camera's doing this no justice. It's just so. Oh, that's 0.5. Okay. Oh my God! What is that? That's the weirdest glowing. That is the weirdest thing. It's like wings or. I see it. No, I see it. Oh, it's.
yeah, well, it's hard to see. Let's see.
Okay.
All right. We get the point. If you're interested in looking at that whole thing, you can watch that on Daily Mail.
The interesting thing about that is these people are seeing all kinds of anomalies in the sky, and these people are so calm about it
and excited.
It's become. I think it's because people have become desensitized to it, to the fact that these are unknown objects and things just floating in the sky, and also that it's becoming so normal. It's happening so much that people just look at it as like, oh, just another thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, our last story for today, it says zoo goers outraged to discover panda exhibit was actually dogs dyed black and white. This is a cute story. Okay, so
that's interesting. I mean, dogs. I guess they couldn't have pandas, so they decided to find some dogs and paint them to look like pandas. I mean, it says the dye wasn't harmful that they used.
It's the dogs. It's interesting that the dogs kind of look like pandas, but it's a shame that they have to go to such lengths to deceive. But again, I think the dogs are cute. So
yeah, so that's it's interesting. It's funny, but that's what we have for this week. We certainly appreciate you all joining. We're grateful for you. We're praying for you all. It's always fun to be able to have a chance to do these live videos. So definitely, if you didn't get to catch it, we usually try to do this on Sunday. Just gather a list of articles and just talk about them. So we definitely wouldn't. We'd like to have you join us. It's more fun when there's others watching while we're doing it live. So thank you for taking the time out of your day to be with us and join us. So we appreciate that.
And participation. Yes. We want to talk to you. Add your comments, add your thoughts, and let's share. Let's grow. Let's do this. We are a community. So
Yeah, one other thing I want to mention, we talked about this in the beginning for a moment, but we do have a new video released on Friday called Emotions in Our Health, Part 3, talking about gratitude. So if you hadn't had a chance to check that out, please take a look at that. There's a lot of great benefits for having a great attitude or having emotions of gratitude and expressing gratitude and how it does impact our health in a great way. So definitely check that out if you have a chance. Again, we appreciate you. We're grateful for each one of you. If you have prayers that you need, please send it to us at info@discerningminds.com. We'd be glad to pray for you, any specific needs you have. Also, share your testimonies if you have anything that you want to testify and share of the goodness of the Most High, what He's done in your life. It's always good to get encouragement from each other and encourage each other, and iron sharpens iron. So for those of you watching, we appreciate you again, and glad that you're here with us. And we'll be having some other videos coming up soon, working on several different things. So thanks again. We love you and praying for you. And until next time, family,
Shalom.